Welcome back to another episode of the Iron Pulse podcast. Today, Kyle and I are going to be discussing our journey on social media. We're going to talk a little bit about where we started, a few transitions we made along the way, and where we currently are and where we plan to go. So, Kyle, you want to kind of just get into a little bit of how we started? I know that you basically handle the majority of the social media, so we can give you the floor if you'd like to start.
Yeah, I mean, when we started, I guess and even still now to an extent, like we didn't really know what was the best way to do it. We kind of just started posting, and that was where it started. I mean, as it comes to social media, I think when we first launched, we started posting pictures a little bit too early, in the sense that we had interest from a ton of different people on when they were going to launch, but we didn't have the actual clothing yet. Like, so we almost built all this hype around something that we didn't necessarily have. And I think, looking back on it and what we've done, moving forward, how that's changed is when we have a launch, we kind of change, we kind of wait until we have things on the way to us before we start hyping it up for a launch. I think, that if you're launching something for the first time, there's a certain time and point where it makes sense to build the hype around it, and also a point in time when you could maybe wait and then continue to retain and capture that engagement that you're getting in the early stages. So when we started, we were just posting, things that we had, which were drawings and sketches and ideas and mock-ups just of the clothing that we were looking to produce. We also started the podcast, so we started kind of putting our voices out there and our ideas, which we're currently doing right now, which I think is a great way for us to kind of track what our thoughts are with certain things and how we're continuing to improve and find newer ways to do certain
We're
things.
probably on like our
And so
110th
with
episode,
that,
right? Do you know? We've been doing it for like
yeah,
2 years.
I think 111.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a lot. We release one every week, which is, very consistent. I like how consistent we are with it. Um, it's just a fun time. But so we started posting sketches and mock-ups, like I said, and then we finally got the clothing, and so we put out images of the clothing. We did a bunch of photo shoots. So in between launches, we'd post images of the photo shoots that we did and whatnot. Then we kind of got into doing different entrepreneurial posts, whether it be highlighting certain apps that we like to use, highlighting different entrepreneurial tips.
Yeah, I mean, I would say,
Um,
just to get in there real quick, is that, yeah, we started a little bit early. Um, I think to your point, like we were just excited, kind of jumped the gun a little bit, but we showed like everything from, like you were saying, the sketches, the process, the 3D renders, sampling, like everything from start to finish, basically. Until we realized like the process was taking a lot longer, and then to fill that void, we needed extra material. So along the way, this was before. I think that was before we actually had the idea to build out like vision wear for the brand of entrepreneurs, right? So then when we figured that out, we kind of segued into providing like useful tips and what people like creator tools, and kind of like what we do with the blogs now, but just in more like compacted posts. The same with the podcast. We started providing like carousels and just useful information for people to use, instead of just like pushing products, right? And I think like now we're kind of in that. I would say like we're more along the lines of like the product phase, less tips, but I think that we could get back into providing more like useful tips for people. But we've just had I think we've had like better engagement and just better all conversion from just products. At least recently. I don't know, Kyle. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think like recently, I mean, we've just seen a surge in
yeah,
um, in basically engagement.
yeah, I think we have to, and I think a lot of it comes down to continuing to try new things and being consistent with it. Um, I think if you're able to do those things, you'll over time see progress. Like I think we're trending in the right direction, and we've got ideas moving forward that we can get into that I think will only help increase it even more. But consistency is the best thing because when you're consistent with something, you can see what things work and what things don't. If you're not consistent with something, then it's going to be tough to find ways to improve different aspects, whether it be with social media, maybe your own current job or anything that you're trying to do.
Yeah, and I will say, like with social media, what we've been doing, I would say that the podcast plus Instagram, those get probably the majority of our time. I would say that we make we make the post for Instagram first, and then they automatically post to Facebook, and they go to Pinterest, and they go to TikTok. But we work Instagram first, I would say. TikTok, we've hired people. It's just it's TikTok's a great platform for reach. It's a good platform for conversion, but it's a full-time job. I don't know how some of these people do it. Just like I'm sure people look at us and they're like, I don't know how you guys handle this plus a full-time job. We look at content creation and it's like, I don't know how people do this. Like the editing, the like constantly looking for the trends, like, because that's just not that's not our life. And it should be a big part of our life. And it isn't. And it's slowed our growth for sure, because we're not as active on social media, like personally. And then as a company, we're getting better with it, but it's such a full-time job. And even bringing somebody on and like hiring somebody, like you still have to get the content, right? Like, so they could post, they could come up with copyright and text and you could do the posting, but like you still have to grab the content. So like that's the majority of the bulk of the work, I would say anyways, just getting the content in order to be edited and stay with the trends and doing things that people want to see, which kind of brings us to like the next point of like having like, what do people want to see, right? People want to be entertained. They want to see, like stupid things. It's just everybody's different and there's a market out there for everybody. But like what I've noticed is like everybody's attention span is very short. People want to be not only entertained for, the whole TikTok or the whole post, whatever the case is. They don't necessarily want like products like shoved at them, which I get as well. Because more than likely somebody will make a comment like, oh, hey, where'd you get this from? Or where'd you get that from? And then, that's what kind of sparks that conversation. But no matter what you do, I feel like people just always want more. And there's always going to be somebody out there that's better than you with editing. Somebody out there that's better than you with, the angles that they shoot, the products that they offer, whatever the case is, somebody's going to be better than you, right? The reach, like just how it works and understanding the algorithm. But like Kyle and I, like we just need to kind of figure out like, what do we want to offer and which platforms do we want to offer it on? Because like Kyle and I talked about this a little bit earlier today, but like YouTube, in my opinion, is still the best for monetization. So if you can gain a YouTube audience, then it'll more than likely filter to Instagram, filter to TikTok. I don't necessarily know if it works vice versa. I think if people follow you on Instagram, I don't think that they necessarily follow you on YouTube as much as if they follow on YouTube, then they'll follow you on Instagram. But, it depends on like how much time you have to edit and like what you want to do, right? Like what you want to offer, right? So Kyle,
I think the platforms, I think the platforms are different too. Like if you're going to YouTube, you're not looking for something that's going to be 10 seconds of an attention span, right? Usually if you go to YouTube, you're looking for something to entertain you for, 10 minutes, 5 minutes or more. And if you go to, if you're on TikTok, everybody's got an idea that like every single video on TikTok is a minute or less. So, I think it's two different forms of media too. Like one, like sure you can compare them in some aspects, but they are just, they're just two different things. Like one's meant to hold someone's attention for, longer than 5 minutes, and the other one's for those that have an attention span of 10 to 20 seconds.
Right. It just pays out a lot more.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Like, because we were talking earlier about the fact that if you can grow an audience and you can get like a loyal community, you can do whatever you want to. Like, as much as people don't like the Paul brothers or like KSI, a lot of people like Mr. Beast, like
they're all very smart.
They're very smart people, and they're so smart that no matter what they touch, they've basically got the Midas touch, right? Like anything that they release or go and do, it'll be successful. And that's because of the amount of people that they have constantly, like, wanting to be notified and at their beck and call of like watching what they do, like watching their every move. And, it comes with doing outrageous things, right? Like everybody that gets into that position does something outrageous in order to get there. Like you're not well known for the sake of, just sitting at your computer really and not doing anything. I think like, and then you look at like the gaming side of things, that can kind of be a little bit different because you have Dream, you have Ninja, like all these people, like the bigger gamers that, well, Ninja didn't, but like Dream just came out. A lot of people don't know who that is, but like he just took his mask off and like people lost their shit. Like it's trending. Oh, like here's his face. Like, it's a character. It's a different persona. Like you have to have something that helps you stand out from the crowd. Like what's going to be different? Because 9 times out of 10, like what you're creating right now for your company, it's not different. Like take a step back, think about it, look at it. Like, what are you doing on social media? Like, what are you doing as a company as a whole? Like, why should people support you? Like, why should people follow you? Like, what's different? Are you even doing anything different? Or are you just trying to push product because you enjoy, pushing a product? I don't know. You're going to have to answer that question for yourself. But social media it's a big factor in that, and gaining a following, gaining a community could help take you to, the next level. And it's not easy. None of it's easy. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of time, and most likely it's a full-time job, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, think about like Kyle. Like Kyle, and I, we know like well, we don't know him, but we know of like Max Tuning, right? And like all the, especially in the fitness industry, like they would go to work because like the fitness industry, when you start like putting out videos on YouTube or whatever, like you're not making enough money to quit your job. So like all these people like were either full-time students or they had jobs and they edit at like night, right? They film and edit later in the day or at night or like early in the morning. No matter what you do, it's going to be a grind because at the end of the day, you need to be able to have that monthly nut. Basically, you need to have money in order to go and do those things, because starting out, you're not going to have that money, and it's not going to be a consistent cash flow to where you can just quit your job and then move on with your day and just edit videos, right? So like it's a process, to say the least. Kyle, did you have something you were going to say?
No, I just think that, to your point, I mean, nobody, I guess, gets like building the community is the hardest part, and nobody does it overnight. So, I mean, by the time you end up seeing someone, if they're, it's hard to write someone off as a overnight success because they've probably been doing things the way they have been that got you to notice them for, years prior. Like you brought up Max Tuning, and he was making videos since like 2012, I think. So, I mean, it's been almost 10 years that he's been making YouTube videos, and, it's that type of thing that takes a while to get started, but you have a lot of benefits later down the road.
Right. And usually comes with having a different persona. I would say like a lot of these people have they have like an online persona versus their original, like their like in person, right? Because like Max, like he talked to this like a little bit of like how when he posts videos, like his energy levels and like just what he does, it's not him 24/7. It's him in it's who he is like in the videos. It's like what people have become accustomed to. It's what people like. It's what people follow. It grabs their attention, right? Like the way that he is. And that's with a lot of people. Like they have to be and have that attention grabbing personality online, but it doesn't necessarily mean that that's who they are like in real life. I'm sure like the Paul brothers, like people hated the Paul brothers, right? I don't know if they're the same online as they are in person. I don't know. Never met them. Um, but I know it's not like that for everybody. So, yeah, man, I just, as far as like what people want to see getting into the industry, like I look at what Max has done and he's built up these huge companies, but I would say like his followers, like his, YouTube and Instagram followers have stayed pretty consistent. While there's a lot of people that are just like going up and up, like gaining millions like every quarter. So I don't know if it's like if he's just at like he's found his like loyal base. I don't know how it all works. I don't know how it all works, but watching these people just shoot up millions of followers like every quarter, it's crazy to think because it's like a new era, it's a new generation. Especially because like these people I don't know, dude. Especially on TikTok, like all these couple profiles, I don't know the names of any of them, but you see like let's just say fucking I don't know Cam and Kyle, right? Like these two people that build a profile, and I don't know who the hell they are. Like they're not famous, but somehow they have like 4 million followers, and it's just like what do they? I don't know. I watch a couple videos like a day in the life of the family, and it's like all right, well. Are we like, are people that bored? They have to, live vicariously through the day in the life of other people? I don't know. But it's entertaining, I guess, clearly, right? So everybody's different. Everybody looks for something different, especially on social media. They usually use it to escape the reality that they're living and follow other people around. So I don't know, man. But whatever people want to see in terms of like Iron Pulse content, I mean, we're always open for suggestions. Especially just building apparel and now with the fashion show and just continuing to grow. I mean it's crazy how things are going, but we're always open to suggestions. Other than that, Kyle, did you have anything else you'd like to say?
No, I think we covered a lot of good stuff today.
Yeah, sweet. No, if you liked it and found value, please feel free to share with your friends and family. As always, thank you for taking the time to listen. You can follow us on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Pinterest at Official Iron Pulse. If you want to hop on the Iron Pulse report, you can visit shopironpulse.com, scroll down to the bottom, and subscribe there. And remember, no matter what you do, be all in.